Awesome. Awesome.
We're high energy out the gate.
It's a Monday after Thanksgiving break. I mean, I feel like we have to be high energy. Otherwise, we didn't do Thanksgiving break the right way. Yeah.
I don't feel like I did it the right way, but that's okay. We can talk about cayenne accidentally ending up in a pumpkin pie and really upset my mom, which was hysterical to me, upset everyone
Cassandra,
else at the table.
Welcome. Oh man,
thank you. Hey,
yeah, you know what? There is a weird energy.
How are you?
You know, we always joke around
good.
here. It's like the Thursday night shows versus the Friday afternoon shows. Like, there's a totally different energy, and guests kind of find the right night or day and they don't even know it's a thing. Like, they just like, it feels like the universe kind of gives us the right answer for the right person. And you're our first Monday, and I'm like, you're
Monday,
but
I'm an early bird.
I don't hate the Monday night thing. I'm not going to lie. There's yet a different energy on this one, right?
There you go.
We might be opening up a whole nother time slot.
Hey, listen, you got introduced to us by one of our really fun friends. And did you guys know each other from Emory, or how did you? Yeah.
Louise Hecker. Yeah, we were both members of something called the Female Founders Forum. Also known as Women Doing Awesome Things.
Women doing what?
So
I love it.
Women doing awesome things. She and I share a entrepreneurial spirit of bringing science to the masses through.
I love it.
Going beyond the lab to hopefully the clinic someday.
Yeah,
that's how we met.
That's awesome.
Keep harassing her to come back on when she does her next round of stuff. They're all in like fundraising round and all that, grants and all that neat stuff right now. So I'm like, I can't wait to bug her. I think we need to keep a better list. We've got like a growing list of guests that are about to do another cool thing, and I'm like, we got to have you back again.
We gotta have like a follow-up email chain,
like a whiteboard or something. God, that sounds like work. So Cassandra, thanks again for sharing some time. Let's just jump right in. Like, how did we come to talk to you today? Like, what's your story, man? Why
are you here?
Well, I actually had Louise on my podcast. I have a podcast called Foodie Pharmacology. So we get nerdy about food on my show. And and then she's like, oh man, you really have to talk to these guys. They have a really awesome podcast. So that's
she literally fell right into the groove when she was on the show. It was like 2 seconds and it was like,
she's like, oh, I get it.
I have a feeling that we're on the same train here with you, but yeah, so like you're in an interesting spot. Like, this food thing you got going is, I got to say, it's super fascinating. I worked in restaurants most of my sort of formative years. I cooked my whole life in one way or another. And I've been in the cannabis fields for 20 something years. And, that was sort of a big thing, a little not so much anymore, but you can still make it a big deal if you want. So like, but from a science standpoint, that's a conversation I've never even thought to have.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all about food and medicine. I think that's where my research kind of sits.
I literally have never heard of that.
I don't know if you guys have ever heard of that term before.
Yes, I was so excited when I looked you up on LinkedIn. Yes. I'm like,
because we have a college,
this will be amazing.
I actually could figure out what that meant, but I've never heard of that before. Totally, honestly.
Yeah. No, it's fun.
I have, but I researched some weird shit.
So what exactly is an ethnobiologist, botanist, and how the hell do you get to do that?
Botanist.
Yeah. How do you get to, well, you have to have a bit of wanderlust and a bit of love for science. So I love to travel. I got into ethnobotany through kind of my interest in anthropology and biology. It's great. I go to different, work with different cultures. I interview people about how they use wild plants as food and medicine. I talk a lot about wild foods on my podcast. But in my lab, I study wild medicinal plants. So cannabis, you mentioned, is one example of a medicinal plant. But I'm really interested in plants that people use to treat infections. Because you may have heard of antibiotic resistance, right?
It's a
pretty big issue. Yeah. So we're looking to nature for new solutions for antibiotic resistance. So, and in the midst of that, I also talk a lot about food.
So what cultures are you particularly interested in?
Tom wants to know if you're in Chinese medicine. Let's just cut this off at the pass.
It's all right. I'm going to sit here and talk about Artemisia for the next hour.
Oh my God. I've never
Jesus
met an
Christ.
Artemisia I don't love.
You know, look, if you want to get real nerdy, Moon over Matsushima is a love song to Artemisia, specifically from an East Asian perspective.
Wow.
But just it's I would love to write a book like that. I'm jealous of Merlin Young.
Oh, that's awesome. I am not familiar with that song, but I got to check it out.
No, it's a book.
No.
It's actually
cool.
a book about every part. So traditional East Asian uses, the history of Artemisia,
the
nice. Scientific research behind it.
Mugwort. Okay, yeah.
Mugwort. It's mugwort.
It's mugwort. It's mugwort.
It's moxa. It's
I've
moxa.
Never heard you call it that before. Moxa all the time,
but
I mean,
well, I'm talking to an ethnobotanist.
I
can't just say Magusa. Yeah, I can't give her the Chinese.
You're right. This is an oddly useful time to pull that out of your hat. Yeah.
Well, look, it's the one thing I got. I forgot all the other Chinese herbal medicine, but I use moxa every day in the clinic. So.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. There's an Artemisia I really love. I found this plant on work I was doing in Sicily. So I work a lot in the Mediterranean. So, my friends kind of rib me about this. Oh, you have to go back to the Med for the summer. Like, yes.
That's horrible.
It's horrible. Such a sacrifice. But there's this great, it's Artemisia arborescens, and it has this incredible smell. If you've ever encountered a plant where you just want to roll around in it and kind of bathe yourself in its aroma, I felt like a cat around catnip. It was so awesome. Yeah. And it turns out it's a plant they use ritually for bathing newborns to kind of bless the child on these remote islands around Sicily. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that because some of the research that was done and it was the year that the people that discovered ivermectin also got a Nobel Prize in medicine. So it's a loaded year. But a Chinese practitioner actually synthesized an anti-malarial drug.
Yeah, it was Yu too. She found such a cool story. So it's Artemisia annua. It's another mugwort. She found artemisinin in that plant. What's cool about that story though is she went back to a book that was like 2,000 years old to figure out how to extract it, because it's actually a cold water extraction. You don't heat it. You don't stick it in alcohol like you would with other plants. She was one of the recipients of the Nobel Prize. I think it was 2015. One of the few women to get the Nobel Prize in medicine.
And she was like a triple negative too, right? She wasn't a doctor. She wasn't a PhD. I forgot they have some specific term for somebody that, and there's only a few of them that have ever done that.
I don't know. I think she was a doctor though. I think she's Dr.
She was an MD?
too. Yeah.
Okay.
Or a PhD. I'm not sure.
All right.
She had a doctorate in something. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a cool story. I mean, that discovery has saved countless people from malaria.
That's wild.
At least
incredible.
The cold water is actually kind of an interesting.
It's like cold.
So
hash.
let me ask you something. In a situation like that, if you were to use alcohol or warm water like you would in other things, does it just not work at all, or does?
Well, I mean, it's like anything. Let's say if you take ground up coffee's a plant, right? And you stick it into cold water, you're not going to get as rich of an extraction as you would with hot water. So it just depends on the type of chemicals you're trying to pull out. And in that case, it wasn't very stable in heat, and it was water soluble, so it came out in the room temperature.
The reason
water.
I'm asking that is because, like, can you imagine? Like, I always get like sort of starstruck at the fact that somebody figured that out, right? Like, because like.
Yes.
Right. And it sounds like they figured it out like 2,000 years ago.
Fucking answer, and yet here we are, right? Like you're like, nope, that's not going to work.
Yeah. Man, I mean, there's so much trial and error. I think we have this kind of modern health bias where we tend to disregard what people figured out a long time ago. And, I have to put this line in here, indigenous science is science, right? It's based on a lot of trial and error, a lot of experimentation, often by observing what animals do too. Animals use plants as medicine. A lot of people don't realize that. And then a lot of modern kind of traditional medical practices have come from close observations.
Yeah,
of what
that
the animals
is interesting. We talk about the cows that choose their own grass all the time based on like whatever's going on. And I'm like, that's actually a lot smarter than anyone told me a cow was, right? Like they just know how to do that. They're like, if you give them a big field and they're a little sick, they might go to that corner, or if they're feeling great, that corner. I don't know. It's like kind of a.
Yeah.
God, I think I've recently saw a video of a chimp picking up a plant, chewing on it, and applying it to a cut on its face. And they're like, that plant has antibacterial properties.
Yeah. There have been some incredible studies that have come out in the past few years. The field is called zoopharmacognosy, another Latin term for it. It means animals that know medicine.
If that can't be used in like a Trivial Pursuit game or something, like I don't know what. That's a fucking great word. Thank you. Now I've got two new ones. Right? Wow.
It is.
Take that, dog that presses on buttons to talk. I got a fucking pharmacist chimp.
Oh my, yeah, right.
It's like mixing things
so
up.
Like when you get into this, is it what the people? I mean, first of all, is this a big field? Like, are you like one of one, or is there like a bunch of you? Yeah, like
you're at arm's length to every other ethnobotanist on the planet.
Yeah, we're kind of a small family of we're not as big of a field as I wish we were, because there's so much knowledge that we're losing and ecosystems that we're losing. Like, I wish we had more ethnobotanists and ethnobiologists around to like document and preserve the knowledge and, help contribute toward conservation of these ecosystems before they're gone forever. But it's a different kind of, you have to have a different kind of background. I mean, you have to be able to be comfortable going and up to strangers in different cultures and different languages and speaking with them. And then also have the know-how of, how to identify all these plants you find in these different ecosystems and so like study them.
What, I mean, it's in your world, you get this research, like what did you think is the most practical? Is it basically like, hey, we're going to find antibacteria, a cure for an antibacterial bacterial resistant? I mean, is that where this goes?
Yeah.
Feels like it.
Yeah. I think so. I mean, so like when Louise and I actually met, the person that introduced me to you guys, as I was in the beginning of co-founding a new company, and we're actually working on what I think is going to be a game changer in the way that we treat really, really dangerous infections. So we've discovered in my research group, we discovered some molecules that basically shut off the way that certain bacteria produce toxins that destroy your tissues. So you can think of it this way, like if you've ever heard of the bacteria MRSA before. Okay. So imagine you've got MRSA on your body or on your skin. It can do a lot of damage to the skin, but in the presence of my drug, it's not able to produce the toxins that damage the skin. So I've, used analogies like it's like taking the teeth out of the dog's bite, right? The dog's still there, but it's like, just with gums and no teeth to like chomp away at you. Yeah. So that's a really exciting discovery.
So you can't, I'm not asking you to tip your hand here, but what herb is that? Where did that come from?
Yeah, so we've discovered similar molecules in a couple different plants. So we found some of this in the chestnut from Europe, and then also from a plant called the pepper tree that's from Brazil, but is really is the most hated plant in all of the state of Florida because it's a noxious weed. What's a weed but a very, very effective plant?
Well, it's
right?
even kudzu, a kudzu or something is grown all over. Yeah. And that's an herb in China.
The whole highway system in Maryland, but
But imagine if you could eat your way out of kudzu, right? I mean, it's a good
killing
cover
all
crop.
the trees down here. All those trees on the sides of highways and stuff, they just let it go. And I'm like, okay, it's like a blanket of death over the trees, But so when I'm curious, you said you found it like there's a Brazil thing, there's this, that, just on a global scale, like when you find a molecule that does a thing, do you guys kind of put a target on that molecule now? Are you like kind of like, okay, now we know what we're looking for, and now you can kind of go find that in things that maybe wouldn't be used for that or weren't discovered previously as a medicinal, but we know where to find this molecule?
All right. And I'm going to add on to that. Do you also look at the entourage effect? Like the whole plant entourage effect?
The whole plant. Yeah. Like kind of the polypharmacology.
Yeah.
I guess my approach is we have this really radical library, a chemical library that's composed of extracts of more than 1,000 species that are used around the world in different forms of traditional medicine. So we've got plants from the tropics, from the Mediterranean, from Asia, from South America, from the US, like from all over the place. And we just go through this brute force screening endeavor. So we have a target we're going after. In this case, we were looking for things that could basically shut off the capacity of these bacteria to do harm. And we test and test and test. And each plant, like a single leaf, can actually have thousands of molecules. So talking about entourage or polypharmacology, there's a lot of things that may be working together. But in order to understand how things work together, first we have to take them apart. So you can think of like the plant chemistry almost like a puzzle, right? So we're taking this jigsaw puzzle and we throw it across against the wall, and it's in all these little pieces, and we have to pick apart each little piece and then test piece by piece which one works and recombine the pieces to see which ones work better together. So it's a long and kind of arduous process, but in the end we get to the kind of end result. So we found a number of molecules in these plants that work, and we've also tested them in combination. In this case, we've got strong activity in single molecules, which tends to be more palatable to like the traditional drug development pathway.
Less shit to keep track of.
But I've worked on other plants, man, that have less to keep track
patentable,
of.
Right?
Yes.
You can patent that.
Yes, exactly. But there are others where definitely, you need to have them in combination. Or you may have some where you can take one piece from a plant and combine it with an existing drug to make something work better. So we even did that with another plant known as the American beautyberry. You may have heard of that plant. It's here in the South. It's used as a decorative. It's beautiful. It has these beautiful purple berries. Indigenous people of the Southeast used to use it to as an insect repellent, but we actually found a molecule in that plant that makes antibiotics work better against MRSA. So it restores the activity of antibiotics that don't work anymore. So those are the kind of things we get into. We like, have these plant potions, we mix them together, do a lot of heavy science, but in the end, our lab really is working in herbs and crystals. So crystal structures and things. And
so
herbs.
Scientific witchcraft is what you just said to me.
I'm like the high priestess of medicinal plants.
That should be your business.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, God.
So we've joked about having T-shirts with a quote from every person's episode. I believe that's yours.
I would love it. Oh my gosh. If you make that, send it to me. Put it on a coffee mug and a shirt.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Of medicinal plants.
That would be funny.
Yeah. I don't know. Sometimes people ask what I do. Is like, I do drugs. I do plant drugs. And they're like, what? I was like, wait, no, I discover plant drugs.
Exactly.
Are you on them now?
Possibly.
Maybe.
So are you like sort of and Tom, call it 17 minutes and 40 seconds in, we're going to say AI, but is this like a prime target for an AI? Cause like, you find this American beauty, berry, whatever the fuck, and you find out that it mixes with 8 other things. And eventually the search space gets smaller, right? Like, okay, cool. Now we know what we're dealing with over here. And now it's not a blue ocean anymore. It's okay, here's the neighborhood we have to hang out in. AI can simplify that, I would think, but am I oversimplifying that?
Well, I think any AI is only as good as the data you train it on. And unfortunately, right now, we know an alarmingly small amount about the chemistry of life.
Right.
There's not that much that's actually been shown with a lot of medicinal plants. So you can use tools like mass spectrometry, and there are companies that have been successful in raising hundreds of millions of dollars with this idea that they can push the mass spec data through an AI pipeline and come up with the next new drug. But the problem is all of these like mass spec matches are putative, meaning they're guesses, right? So until you actually do the work of separating those things apart, getting the crystal structure, getting the actual like confirmation of structure, you're not really feeding the AI with the true like robustness of data I feel like we really need. So you've got to, I think if we can combine more high throughput experiments with AI, yes, I think down the road we'll get there.
The thing that I always keep thinking is the biggest roadblock is like, imagine if I was just sort of an intermediary, right? We have a health show, right? We talk to a lot of people from a lot of different domains. And I said, hey, Cassandra, after the show, send me over all the data, your raw data on this. We're going to plug it into an AI. We'll give you access to it, but in truth, it's going to commingle with a lot of other people's AIs. all their training data, right? And now I'm like, okay, now you can start asking it weird questions, like maybe, Louise has her data in there too. And now we're talking about ethnobotanist and psilocybin, and like we're throwing all that at it. And like that would just happen as a part of due process. The problem is none of that's ever going to happen because everyone walls up their garden, and now you can't really cross-pollinate that, right? Like, and that is where I see the biggest, and this is my line of work, by the way, in case you to contextualize this is what I do. But like no one's doing that. And I feel like it's so funny because when they do, you've heard this like 95% failure rate in the news of AI, right? Like I'm sure anybody, it's been all over the place. They further did another one, Carnegie Mellon followed it up, and they said, it's actually a 2 to 3% success rate. I'm like, well, if you're paying attention, that means it just got worse. You're just phrasing it from the other direction, right? Yeah, but like, it was interesting. They said of the 2 to 3% success rates, like 85, I think they said 85% of those had huge ROI from AI. So those are it's a big percentage of a small percentage, but the people that are doing that are hugely successful at it. And what are they doing? They're doing exactly that. They're throwing all of their internal data into a blender, and they're seeing what comes out the other side. And it turns out it's fucking great. It's like fucking magic, actually. But you have to convince you at Emory and somebody else from Harvard and somebody else from where to all throw their shit into the same blender. And that is where I think it's not.
Don't get the blender out until a different administration, please.
Yeah,
please do not take the blender out for at least 4 years.
Well, I think what it also touches on, you've got a lot of challenges inherent in that when it comes to intellectual property and patents, right? And why do I care about patents?
Because you have a mortgage.
I care about patents because without them, no drug is. Well, that, but also
I like food. Did I mention I like food?
You get a mortgage, but I mean, realistically, no drug is going to get developed if you don't have a very, very robust patent, a series of walls. There's going to be layers upon layers, like an onion, to your patent portfolio. It costs around $800 million to $1 billion to bring a new drug to market. And so if everything is out in the open through open access, I have a hard time understanding how that will work in the intellectual property landscape to actually create those walls that are necessary for a drug to be developed. And then when it comes to natural products, it gets even more complicated because when we work internationally, we engage in something known as the Nagoya Protocol on access and equitable benefit sharing, which basically is a promise to come to an agreement should something be commercialized down the road. So if I'm just giving away all the information that I've gathered through these studies to others, they may not be beholden to the same agreements that I am. And I have a moral and legal responsibility to ensure that that benefit sharing takes place. So if I have a collaboration, for example, with the government of on the island of Sabah in on the other side of Borneo. And so like if we find something with that plant and then I load my data all to an open access and somebody else develops a drug off of that data, maybe seeing an angle I didn't see, they're not going to be, partners within that agreement with that country. And so that country will receive no benefit from that work. So it gets really, really complicated when you get into the mechanics of like, if you really want to be translational, like I think for some areas of science, 100%, let's go for it. But drugs are a little bit more challenging. Yeah.
I wonder if blockchain
there's a bunch
of
ways that we could probably fix that, but I think that the biggest fix there, Cassandra, is that system is no longer serving the future of this, because like in reality, look, bacterial resistant stuff is like just the tip of that iceberg, right? Like you saw this in COVID, right? Every country on earth was fucking racing to get a vaccine because the whole planet was freaking out, right? If we had something worse than COVID, like some hemorrhagic fever or fucking whatever, some crazy, like, you know what? Like patents don't really mean anything in that context, right? And
no, you're absolutely right. Yeah. Well, this is why we have to be more proactive.
No, agreed.
Though, right? We're so reactive. We wait until like the crisis hits, and it's like let's invest in research now so we can be prepared because we know more or less where the threats are and what they might be in the future. Like we have ideas around the types of viruses,
we're not going at this blind.
The types of infections that could,
and even COVID was
exactly,
from all things that I can gather anyway, looked like it was almost predicted many, many times over. And so I don't even think COVID was really that much of a surprise to a certain amount of people that were just like, finally happened.
God, I'm biting my tongue here because I remember certain steps that people went in the wrong direction.
Why does it?
Hindsight is 2020.
No, sure, it's hindsight. But, it's not being a dumbass.
Bring it back to what we were saying real quick.
Sorry.
It cost $1 billion to bring a drug to market because of all those protective layers. Right now, to Tom's point, if you were able to just take a piece of it and say, hey, look, if there's a drug that comes out of this, here's the token you have to buy into, which gives that consent right away. Because you're right, you can't have. We talked to a JR about Quave. He was on, and he very sustainably sources Quave, and he is first. 90% of the first part of his thing is about that ethical sustainability of Quave extraction. The last 10% is making money selling it at his bar in Baltimore. But it is weird. It's weird in our ecosystem. It's weirdly slanted, disproportionately on steroids slanted in the way of making it authentic to the people he sources it from.
Well, but that's capitalistic, though. I mean, I think the system that we have is based in capitalism, and that's not necessarily in this case for the benefit.
Because Cassandra, think of it the other way. If you flip the script on that, imagine if you just were unable to travel ever again. All of the work you had was whatever you have today. The reality is, if you combine that with other people's research, you probably have 3 lifetimes of shit you can do with that. You just don't know how right now because it's not connected. To anything, right. And so your arguments and everything is totally valid. But I think what we have all missed is what is on the other side? What happens if we collaborate? I think the pipeline, you're going to laugh at $1 billion on the other side of that equation. Because it's we could make 40 drugs with the same amount. You know what I mean? I don't know.
I'm turning Matt into a communist. He doesn't know it yet.
You know what it is? I believe
let's share all the research.
Technology is being misused, and I think we just haven't figured out how to use it the right way yet. And I think that Cassandra is a tip of that spear, right? You've got access to all this really cool data that could really be helpful.
Yeah, man. And we've got some really cool tools we're working with too now. I mean, we have this big project that's funded through the National Institutes of Health, through the National Center for Complementary and Integrative Health. And this is a study that looks at a tool called, or it's a technique, it's called cryo-electron microscopy, microelectron diffraction. We call it micro-ED
that sounds like
for short.
A different thing altogether.
But basically what this...
it definitely does. Sounds like a bunch of men don't want to talk about it.
That sounds... We might have to get a branding person on your side, okay?
What do you mean? It's fine.
Maybe why in Europe they call it 3D ED. I never put that together until now.
I can introduce you to some branding people. You might want to have to message around this.
We might need to change that up a little bit.
So what this tool does though is it allows us to look at mixtures of molecules and get crystalline structures in mixtures, which is something we've never been able to do before, right? So, because we just didn't have the technology. So you're talking about, the information technologies and our abilities to really mine data. I think if you pair that with some of these emerging technologies that allow us to solve structures more quickly from nature, that I think will be really powerful. And that gets over that putative match issue that we have in mass spec, where it's always just a good guess. And if we don't know what it is yet, this could actually help us build out more of that pipeline.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then I'm assuming you build somewhat of a materia medica with this, where it's just a reference guide of all these things that you found in every individual plant.
Exactly. That's the idea. You just keep trying to build and build and build on the structures that you find. And then,
I'm assuming you stumble along multiple sources for the same compounds too, right?
Yeah. I mean, a good example, going back to coffee, caffeine, you find caffeine not in just one plant family, but across families. You can find it in the in tea plants, which are in a different family than coffee plants, in the holly family as well.
Yeah.
Like you think about mate, I mean, you find it in the okra family where you also have chocolate, I mean, all those different sources. So sometimes plants make the same compounds in different families. Yeah. Completely diverse systems of evolution that reach that point.
Like, do you notice that, like, I mean, caffeine's kind of a benign example, but I guess, is there a medicinal analog to where the same compound is more effective in this plant versus this plant, even though it's molecularly similar?
I think a molecule's a molecule, right? So if you have caffeine, whether it's made in a holly plant or a coffee plant, it's going to be caffeine. When it comes to effectiveness, it may just have to do with dose, right? So if you have a higher quantity of that molecule in the plant material,
so coffee
then
might
you may
just be
feel
more efficient,
right?
Extraction source. Yeah.
The higher dose of caffeine.
Or I could have synthetic caffeine. I mean, at its molecular basis, they're all
that
exactly
makes sense
the same.
now that you're saying it, but it also it also makes sense that, I guess, maybe more from the entourage perspective, it might make more sense, now that I'm meaning, like, you might have 87 compounds in this plant, and therefore the caffeine feels a little bit better versus you have 8 compounds over here and it doesn't feel the same.
Yeah. I mean, you think about vanilla, right? We've all tasted artificial vanilla extract, or you smell like vanilla in like the vanilla candles or room sprays.
Yeah.
Versus like real vanilla that's from the orchid. Real vanilla has this greater complexity to its flavor. It's just totally different than synthetic vanilla. Vanilla, which is basically just vanillin.
Is that real? Sawdust. Is that how they do that? That's hilarious.
Yeah. It's like a
we're not going to talk about beaver musk glands or something.
Yeah.
Delicious.
My kids are like, why are you so worried about artificial flavors? I'm like, beaver butts. That's all I have to say. We don't have to go. Yeah.
They're too expensive to use.
So I guess that does make sense. So are you guys chasing is there a holy grail in ethnobotany that you're chasing something like?
They're chasing a high.
I got to imagine it works like everything else. Like there's a hot topic everyone's trying to kind of race towards. What is that?
Fountain of youth? Is it longevity? Is it anti-aging? Is it what is it?
Oh man, I mean, I've visited a lot of places that are like, the blue zones where people live really long. I've not found the key yet. I guess, what are people chasing, man? I don't know. Everybody's got their own area. Functional ingredients are really big right now. I mean, if you're looking at in terms of capitalist development, everyone's looking for the next beverage ingredient that
who is it?
Optimize your body's performance.
Why is it always a
fucking
lazy?
I
don't know.
To do anything more than crack.
God forbid you had to cook it.
Yeah, that's it. Oh fuck.
Yeah.
We just want to drink it. It's fucking easy.
And it's got to taste good too. You can't taste bad.
Yeah. Ironically, we have to pump it full of fake shit to make it taste good, because otherwise it's horrible, right? Even that JR was like, "Kava tastes terrible." It's like,
Kava tastes like
muddy dirt. Yeah,
it's muddy dirt.
Spicy dirt.
I mean,
spicy dirt water.
What's the grossest plant? Since we're on bad tasting shit, what don't you like? I'm curious. You got probably the deepest well of this answer I could probably.
Ooh.
Let's see. Well, I mean, I've had some interesting forms of plants. Like I've had Masato in the Amazon, which is like manioc or cassava root spit beer. It's it's kind of, so you have we've all had, it's also called yucca chips, it's like this starchy tuber. It's in the spurge family. They grow it there. They'll boil it, and then the old ladies in the community that don't have any teeth left will they'll kind of chomp on it, spit in a pot. I've had that, which was it didn't taste bad.
Is that coming in around 5% alcohol though? It's not it's like a light beer, right?
I wish it had
to get
more
past
alcohol
the fact that you're drinking spit.
Did not get past the microbes. No.
I got it.
No.
And what are you going to do? You can't not drink it, right? That would be rude.
It would be rude, right? So you had to engage. What's another one? Well, this is one that's like tastes delicious, but smells awful. Have you ever had durian before?
When I was in Bali, they kept every hotel said, do not bring that.
No, it's forbidden. Don't bring it into the hotel. Do not bring it in.
And then I tried to buy one at H Mart here. And I go, oh, that's not too bad. It's $12. Kids, let's give this a go. I get it to the checkout. She's like, it's $12 a pound.
Yeah. Oh.
And I was like, no, we're not. That's like that's like a 5-pound fruit.
Why
right
can't
there.
You bring it into the hotel?
I don't.
Oh, really?
It smells like rotting ass.
Yeah. I was going to say like a very strong garlic
good.
with the side of ass. Yeah.
I'm Italian, so it's all garlic and ass.
And what do people eat it for? It's just pleasure, or?
Oh, it tastes amazing. Yeah, it's very sweet. It just
Anthony
has an awful
Bourdain
smell.
loves it.
Yeah.
Man, I gotta up my.
Yeah. But don't bring it in your hotel.
Don't
bring it in the hotel.
What any of this shit is. I'm like, that seems. I feel like an idiot over here. I'm like.
All right, if I go to H Mart, we'll do a little short video of us eating it outside somewhere. It's supposed to have like a custardy texture.
When I was in Kenya, they wouldn't let me. I wanted to try that blood milk mixture that they make there for long walks. I was begging them. They're like, "No, you will get sick."
Yeah, wait, is that when they shoot the
they have a straw with like
a
chiseled point on it. They just lay the cow down and just kind of drip off a couple. I asked him because I'm like, "What are you killing cows like crazy?" They're like, "No, we take we take a little bit out." It's like a blood sample. He's like, they barely.
It's like a blood sample,
and it's not a big straw, but they fill up like a moccasin type canteen with it, and and then milk, and they just basically strap it over, and they'll walk for days and only have that. And I'm like, I want it. He goes, it tastes like a strawberry milkshake.
That's amazing.
Like, I guarantee you it does not taste like that. Like, I don't know what this tastes like.
You guys don't even have strawberries here.
Definitely not that. Like, strawberry milkshake. Yeah, no. But he was, I wish he would have let me take it. Or I tried that. What is that? That whiskey made out of those seeds in the acacia trees. What the hell is, I can't remember the name of it. It's like a honey wine. That was interesting. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
I'll drink booze in any country.
Interesting foods. I love
that's an easy one, right? So like, okay, so where, like, what are you on to now then? Like, what are you, like, what are we talking, what's got you fired up these days?
Excited. Yeah.
Oh man, I feel like I'm always hustling. Let's see, what am I doing right now? I'm teaching this semester, so I'm kind of, whenever I teach, I'm kind of locked into the States because it's hard to travel and go on walkabout like I like to.
Yeah, so, exactly.
She's like Indiana Jones with plants.
Yeah. So it's when you're in the field, it's pretty intensive. You've got to really, there's a lot of planning that goes into it, and we're usually out for several weeks. And yeah, I mean, it's awesome. I used to be able to just go completely off grid, and that's the best feeling ever. But now, I mean, thanks to Starlink, you can get internet anywhere. Just so I can't say I'm in the field and can't respond to emails.
Strapping them in backpacks. And it's like,
yeah, off to the races. Yeah. So I'm working on my next book on health span, which is I'm a little bit behind on because we had a bit of a funding crisis in the lab this year, which we've resolved. Yeah. Like a lot of labs had a funding crisis.
NIH actually got back to you?
Well, no, we filled the holes in other ways. Yeah. And then let's see, working on my company, we're in the middle of a pretty big raise for our seed round. We're over half subscribed. So that's exciting. And
wow.
just, trying to get things moved up and lined up, queued up to go in front of the FDA. Yeah. So we're, it's that drug that takes, the teeth out of the dog's bite. It's this drug that we think is going to not only be great for MRSA, but really our first indication is going to be for atopic dermatitis, which is a eczema. Yeah. So that's exciting. And we're working on that. And then I'm, doing a little writing on the side with my Nature's Pharmacy Substack. So I write about herbs and medicinal plants on that Substack. Too, right? So yeah, I'm a full endowed professor of dermatology at Emory, which is exciting. Yeah, I finally got my full final promotion. Yeah. Yeah.
So
thank you.
We have like a lot of people, no cable. We've got just streaming everything, and it seems like even my kids are laughing. They're like, "What's the disease this week?" Like that we all have to like call our doctors about. But
Yeah.
what's the deal? Why is eczema such a target? You must see 50 eczema commercials a day. Like, what's going on?
Oh my gosh. Well, there's a reason. I mean, it's a very
Is there that many fucking
lucrative
eczema
market
people out
for
there?
drugs. I mean,
Really?
yeah, there's a lot.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Everybody.
Yeah, there's a lot. Oh yeah.
And there's a lot of different forms. You can have, all sorts of skin conditions that they'll lump into any eczema drug too.
Yeah. So, well, and a lot of the current drugs work on the host. So, okay, if you're starting off with eczema as a kid, they may give you steroids, which is not great. You can get steroid, kind of tolerance or resistance that builds up. You don't want to keep kids on that for very long, but also adults can run into that problem. A lot of our current drugs work on the host, though, in the way that they basically modulate the way your body reacts to the inflammation to help dampen down the inflammation. So at the same time, these drugs are targeting inflammation. Our drug is targeting what we feel is like a major driver of the disease, and that's the presence of these bacteria on your skin that produce a lot of toxins that, will really aggravate a flare. They'll also drive more itch, and we know the pathways that drive itch now. There's like multiple pathways. There's histamine related pathways, but there's also something called the PAR-A axis that drives itch. And so this is all kind of driven by those toxins produced by those bacteria. And so our drug is going to work to, help tamp that down. And I think it's going to be a game changer.
An antibiotic then?
So it's not an antibiotic. That's what's cool.
She's
I mean, this is where plant medicine finds its way.
Yeah.
No, she had that in her hip. She was ready to draw that. She's like, boom, right here.
So glad you're asked.
Because you would think if it's a microbiome type thing, well then, nuke it from the sky like they tend to do, which is give it a broad spectrum antibiotic and pray for the best.
Well, what happens when you do that? What
happens if all the good flora?
Yep, you kill all the good flora, and you also generate resistance. So this is not suitable for antibiotic therapy. Our drug is not an antibiotic. It doesn't inhibit the way they grow. It doesn't kill them. But what it does is it strategically targets their ability to make these toxins. So I'm taking away their weaponry. And that's how it works.
So you said taking the teeth out of the dog. In Chinese martial arts, they would often say defanging the snake.
Yes. Oh, I like that even better. I'm going to defang the snake.
And it was actually, I learned it from my acupuncture mentor, actually was studying in Japan, and he studied with a guy that, when you had your hands up, he'd fucking knock you right in the front hand. Like the first thing was just crack your fingers, and then you were like, all right, not doing that.
But so now, when you're doing this, would the thought be that your drug could kind of make that irrelevant, or is it just sort of like, okay, we'll get you to like the 5-yard line and we'll take like some antibiotics to get you over
minimize
the finish line?
it? Yeah.
Yeah, well, you wouldn't need antibiotics at all in this context. So what we've seen in mice, at least, is that you have beautiful mouse skin. You don't have that flare any longer. And so what there's a lot of work that has to be done. I can't say too much at this point, but I just say that, it's really exciting. And I'm really pumped about this because I think it's going to really improve the way that we're able to treat these patients in a way that doesn't mess with their immune system.
And
that's
following
great.
that bouncing ball. That means like cancer patients, this would be a better, like anybody with immunocompromised,
Well, there could be a lot of other indications that we're exploring as well.
Need a little help,
absolutely.
Or it's just not, I don't know, not a great thing to put somebody into in the first place, right? I don't know. It's just, and there's allergies to different antibiotics as well, and I don't know. This feels like
there's a lot of promise. I mean, I think what's exciting for me is like I get to see the full picture, right? I have that unique view of I've been in the field interviewing healers, talking with people that use plants as medicine to treat inflammatory skin disease, okay? And it's crazy because when you take those into the lab and we test, are they an antibiotic? And what we found is like, oh, they're not. Some scientists would have discarded that and called that, well, that's just an old wives' tale. It doesn't work. But instead, we asked the question in my group, well, how else might it work? And what we learned from the plant and from that treatment is that you can treat infection through a different path than an antibiotic. So you don't just have to kill and obliterate to resolve the problem. You can be more nuanced. You can take that side door and fix the problem. And that's what's amazing about plants, right?
I was laughing because we're in a colonizing country, and I'm like, that's all we do, right? That's all we know, man. But so this is really interesting, and I guess this question I have is more about when interacting with those, those shaman, village healers, whatever you, curanderas, whatever you want to call them, whatever their title happens to be. How much of it are you going in with like an EBM first, where you actually have studies, or you just listening to them saying, this is what we use for this, and then you're gathering that stuff up and taking it back to the lab? Or is this, hey, we have a hunch that you've been doing this?
No, I think the best kind of ethnobotanist is someone who's a good listener and a good observer. And so it's a very open, I wouldn't say passive process, but it's not me trying to put ideas into their minds. It's me asking generalized questions like, what do you do? How do you manage this condition? Like, what are some of the things that you might use when it comes to treating disease XYZ or symptom XYZ? Because the way that we frame a disease here may be very different from how they frame it. Like, something that we may know is an inflammatory disease in our understanding of medicine, and a different culture might be the representation of a spiritual affliction, that like you passed by a place where somebody died and all of a sudden you got this horrible rash and it has a local indigenous name for that disease, right? So you have to just kind of listen and try to understand the full scope of what the symptoms look like and how are they managing the condition. So a lot of documenting. We collect the plants, of course. We also have to verify the species of the plants. We do that through an herbarium.
Just about
you guys
to
ever
ask
heard of an herbarium?
What is that?
No.
Yeah. So if you picture herbarium, are you like thinking like beautiful lush greenhouse?
No, I'm thinking like an Excel spreadsheet.
No, I'm picturing like a book with a bunch of dried herbs in it.
Yes, yeah, that's right. It's like the original herbaria were in fact like dried herbs pasted into books. Now we're on separate sheets of paper, on acid-free paper. But yeah, that's exactly what it is. And so a good herbarium, if maintained properly, those specimens can last 500 or 600 years. Some of the oldest collections we have on Earth are about that age.
How many of those are extinct
over in
now?
Europe? Yeah.
But is it a lot?
I don't have the number right off the top of my head, but I do know there's a lot. There's a lot. Like there was a recent paper on kind of the tree of life that came out a few years ago, one of those really, really important science journals. And they basically had to do some of the genetics on plants that had already gone extinct based on those physical remnants that were in these collections, right? To help fill out the rest of the tree of life.
And are we at a spot like where we could recreate one of those plants by having a little speck of its leaf to...
But even if not recreating it, leasing the chemical structure and maybe synthesizing those compounds.
So this gets back to technology limitations we were discussing earlier. So you can take like a mass spec and you can look at, you can get some chemistry data on a very limited sample. But a lot of it's still good guesses. Our hope is, and what we're trying to push the boundaries on in our latest work on micro-ED, we'll call it 3D ED, is to see like, can we get structures out of a single leaf? Like no one's been able to really do that before, right? Like actual resolved, like confirmed structures. So we're trying to push the limits of that technology. And I think there may come a day when we can do that. And like you said, learn from the chemistry, even of extinct species, but we're not quite there yet.
We're not Jurassic Park.
We're not Jurassic Parking this.
We're not. No, not yet. Maybe.
It'd be a very boring movie. Oh, that's a very pretty plant there. Yeah.
Yeah, we bridged it with another plant. Oh, great. So it's not going to do anything. No, it's going to sit there. That's it. Yeah.
It's just, this is basically an old arboretum.
I am, it's funny. Everyone's, you hear like, oh, this language died or this plant died off, they're extinct or whatever. And I'm like, granted, I think we've accelerated a lot of these extinctions, but like, also, the world's been around for a long time. Most of the stuff that's here is extinct, right? Like, it's like, that's kind of like part of the package. We just never had a way of counting it before, right? So now it's like, I don't know. It's interesting because you're like, did we have the cure for cancer 1,000 years ago? We didn't know it, obviously, but did we? And it's just now gone. The answer is probably maybe, or.
Yeah. Well, even of the species that are here, I mean, here's a staggering statistic for you. We have around 400,000 species of plants on Earth, and roughly 9% are documented as being used in medicine. So that's around 36,000 species. We've only really studied in science around 1,000 species with like any level of depth and rigor. No, I mean, a lot of it's been very surface level, very cursory. Like to take deep dives, I would say it's well under 1,000 species.
Now, are you just talking about land species or aquatic species as well? Because I feel like
plants.
All plants. Okay.
Yeah. And then a recent report from Kew Gardens in London, they do the state of the world's plants and fungi every few years. And the last one showed that I think it's something like 45% of all flowering plants are at risk of extinction.
What's causing that?
Jesus Christ.
So it's not, well, it's climatic factors. It's also like just complete destruction of ecosystems, right? We're at over 8 billion people on Earth, and having 8 billion people, it's not just about, land needed for people to live on, but it's also land needed to cultivate food to feed all those people. And so as we're clear cutting forest, across the globe to grow this food, we're losing a lot of those species. And we're depleting the soil too. I mean, there's a lot that we have to do. I've gotten a little bit obsessed with like regenerative ag and like soil on my podcast. Yeah. I'm like, we have to is this something that people just aren't aware of? And even the foods that we eat, I mean, when you traveled, I'm sure you tasted foods that you're familiar with, but tasted very different. It's because a lot of our soils are so depleted of micronutrients and minerals that are important, so you can look at like a strawberry that looks beautiful, but it just tastes like nothing, right? It's part of that's because of the soil it's grown on. Part of it is the way that we've, selected for these for size and color rather than actual like sugar content
Even transportation, the durability.
Oh yeah. Harvested.
You know what's funny? I just got back from Costa Rica, and I love their ketchup down there. It's got nothing in it, but it's almost like a maroon color. It's like deeper red, and it's fucking amazing. It tastes like so good, but it tastes like tomatoes. You know what I mean? Like it's got like a real flavor to it. And I'm like, why doesn't my shit taste like this? This is not Yeah,
it's not 90%.
And even if you get like the Heinz Natural or whatever that uses like cane sugar instead of high fructose corn syrup and all that, it's still like not that. You know what I mean? Like,
no, because they're using U.S. tomatoes. It's crazy.
Yeah, what do we have? One
even
banana?
The bananas.
Like that's it.
We have one banana. We have one banana. I forgot if it was Andrew Zimmerman or Anthony Bourdain, but he's in a market in India, and all these guys are selling all these different varieties of bananas, and there's one dude there on top of a pile of Chiquita bananas reading the newspaper. They're like, why is this guy not busy? And they're like, oh, those are the American bananas. Nobody wants those.
Yeah, they're so bad.
They don't taste like anything.
Well, you know about the banana apocalypse, right? The
we
banana
are like
apocalypse.
one famine away from having no more bananas ever. Like, is what I keep hearing.
No, I mean it's a good example. So you have all that genetic diversity you saw on that show with Bourdain, right? So where bananas actually have seeds and they're grown in local gardens, and you have like local cultivation practices, but all of our kind of globally propagated bananas are genetic clones. They're the Cavendish. We used to have a banana called the Grand Michel or the Big Mike. It's gone because it got wiped out by this fungus. It's a tropical wilt disease fungus. The Cavendish is also being affected by a new version of this fungus, and basically it becomes like a floppy banana, like the banana just got the whole herb.
You've said so many things about ED so far.
It's the 3D ED floppy banana problem. Yeah, okay.
The urologist is coming on in a few weeks.
Oh my god. Yeah.
We were going to leave the jokes for that, but we'll keep going.
And so what happens? This fucking fungus takes over, and now we lose our only banana?
It takes over. It gets in the soil. It takes over,
gone?
And then every banana species is at risk.
Well, it's not every species, right? Because a lot of those species are able
just
to like
the clones of this because they have no genetic diversity.
No genetic diversity. We see the same problem with coffee, right? With rust disease. Anytime where you have something that you're just basically growing one thing across the board in a field, it's vulnerable. Look at Florida citrus. I mean, I grew up in Florida. citrus was huge in my county, and it's so sad. All you see are these like skeleton groves
Why?
left. They're all being plowed
happened?
down. Citrus in Florida is dead because of greening disease, also known as wablong disease. It came with this Asian psyllid, this little insect that flew around, injected into the vasculature of our oranges this gram-negative bacterial pathogen that just wiped out Florida citrus. I'm like, why aren't people
I've never, like, everything you
aware
just
of
said.
this? It's like it's like
last
crazy.
Honestly, that's the first time I've ever, like,
I mean, it has
we're still killing
obliterated.
lantern flies over here, and never heard of that.
Yeah, it's awful. It's awful. It's completely destroyed the ag economy of Florida in such a horrific way. And so basically, you know, in ag, we still have tomatoes and watermelons that are being cultivated, and you have cattle farming. Cattle is still a major export. But now with the price of land being what it is in Florida, because everyone wants to move to Florida, you know, it's just really not feasible to start new ranches in Florida any longer. I mean, you're looking at $25,000 an acre. It takes 2 acres to raise a cow-calf pair. You can't do that at those kind of prices, right?
Why? I never, and that's bizarre to me. I never would have thought Florida for cattle.
Yeah, it was the last state to be fenced in, actually. Yeah.
So why couldn't anyone
Florida
wrap their head around this bacteria that's getting injected? Yeah.
The greening. Oh my gosh. It wasn't for lack of trying, man. They did so much research on this.
Just that aggressive, no predators,
It was aggressive. It's just like they tried so many things. They even sprayed antibiotics on the groves. They put like oxytetracycline and they injected antibiotics into the trees.
Nothing. Wow.
It was nothing. Nothing worked.
Is that where we got like an orange helps with your immune system function? Is that why they're like, you just need some more vitamin C?
That sucks. I honestly had never even heard of that before. That's crazy. No, it's totally fine.
Sorry, my lights are always.
You're turning this into a party.
I know. I don't know. It's sad though. It's really but that's the risk that comes with having limited genetic, diversity in your crops.
It is funny that people made it as long as they did, because you have these tribes with like really limited gene pools, right? And I would think that wouldn't have been a great like long term. Yeah, right. Like I would have thought that like having Europe, like what we got now, where like I could grow up in California, marry a Brazilian, and live in Sweden, like that's like not even a crazy scenario, right? Like, and I feel like that's healthier. Yeah, right. I feel like that's a healthier situation.
My uncle is a pediatric neurologist in Lancaster.
Yeah,
all the Amish.
Yeah. Not a lot going on there. Yeah.
Not even joking about that.
Yeah, like I'm like, I don't know how we made it this way. Like, how did you? Well, what was it? I talked to a farming guy from Mexico, said that they don't want our corn down there because like the way they do corn has been doing it since like the Mayans, like Aztecs, whoever was in Mexico, right? And he's like that.
Yeah,
we have this shit on lock.
The Three Sisters,
You guys are fucking idiots. Like, keep your dirty ass corn on the other side of the border. I don't want anything to do with it.
But I think we're seeing that everywhere. I don't think we've exported wheat to Italy since the 50s.
What was that, durum wheat?
The durum wheat is old school wheat.
Yeah, it is funny because who was it? The potato farmers for McDonald's, like that make their fries. Like they've got these like monocrop potato fields, and they're like, they're not sure they could renew contracts at one point because they're like, I'm not sure our field will make it to the next contract signing. Like we need to basically like put this thing through a whole bunch of other shit first because we've just basically depleted this entire thing. And I'm like, that is bizarre that, McDonald's needs that many potatoes that you're now going like, this might be useless land here any minute.
Well, man, this is where I think like big corporations like McDonald's should be investing more in crop genetic diversity. Like there's a huge collection of potatoes from the Andes, right, where they maintain all these different varieties of potatoes as the crop center of origin. A lot of these places where we store and try and preserve these varieties of crops are chronically underfunded, right? But they like literally hold the future of our global food system.
It's so funny. I want to go to Peru and be like, Machu Picchu, that's nice.
I want a
chip. I want a potato chip of every variety you
have. He was
have.
telling me, he's like, yeah, you plant this type of corn because the bug that comes there gets eaten by the bugs from this other thing. And he's got this whole thing. And I'm like, how come no one ever told me that? Like, how come I didn't know this? Like, that's crazy to me.
Yeah.
Because we did all this thing called cash crops for a long time.
Yeah.
And now we don't remember anything.
Well, it's also like the Green Revolution, right? I mean, it was with good intentions. You had famine across the globe. This is where you had all these new innovations and mechanized agriculture. It's like, let's grow a lot of the same thing. We can feed the world, which we've done. I mean, we've been really successful in feeding the world. Like, right? I mean, we wouldn't have been able to support 8 billion people on the planet without these mechanisms, but it comes with a cost, a major cost. And like we said, it has a cost, a toll on the environment, a toll on our soils.
And that corn thing, though, is a great example. It wouldn't cost more to plant 4 types of corn in a field rather than 1, right? You still got to plant corn, right? Like, so it's kind of like, it doesn't feel like an impossible problem to solve, is where I was going.
Well, I guess it depends on the traits of the corn. How tall is it? Does it work with that tractor setup? I mean, all the little pieces have to fit together, and
it's a complicated problem to solve. That's not quite, I guess, straightforward.
Yeah. But it'll, you have to remain optimistic. I feel like I'm just like doomsday. Antibiotic resistance, floppy bananas.
This is a good Monday. I'm normally recovering from the weekend, hoping everything dies.
Well, you know what, Cassandra, I think this conversation is another reminder of about 200 other reminders of the same thing, that like health is such a broad thing when you look at what you're doing. There's no way what you do isn't health related, right? Like it's like 100%. Like, I'm not even talking about the drug stuff.
Oh yeah,
just the
interaction at a global level of
planetary health, human health, one health. It's all about it's that intersection, right? Nature, in its truest form,
that's a great
all
point,
about
right?
health.
Nature intrinsically wants things to be healthy. Like, like that is kind of the default mode network of nature. We want it to be okay, right? We are trying to make it not okay. I mean, that's the part which I probably learned more in the last hour than about botany than I probably learned in the last decade. And that's saying a lot. I've been in cannabis a lot, Oh,
that's awesome.
I mean, that's one.
We're looking at one plant.
One plant.
And you might have been you might have been a little altered.
But what's funny
during those conversations.
Guys are always what they are. They're botanists at heart. So like they're growing weed, but they know fucking lot about plants, man. Like and yes, they know a lot more about weed, but I mean, damn. Those nerds are fun. Like, I mean, right? I mean, and the food thing is cool, man. You need a show. Let's start that intention. Yeah.
Well, we got to do all your podcast.
I want to hear. I want to see the video show.
The AI is going to do it
around the world eating shit, Bourdain style, and like, you know what I mean?
Where are you, Matt? Matt and I will come down and do a cooking show with you.
Hotlanta, Georgia. Listen, I've never been to Atlanta. It's actually I have like 10
awesome
friends in Atlanta that are all come down, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, But I have, aside from these people, there's like nothing I need to do in Atlanta. So now I need to.
Well, you guys used to have a whale shark, didn't you? Wasn't that at the?
I do like the aquarium.
Yeah.
Yeah. A good aquarium.
We got a really good aquarium here.
We got the
National Aquarium.
Yeah.
Ooh, the aquarium. Nice.
Please.
I can show you my
For
room
the
of
love
dead
of God.
plants.
That sounds awesome.
I love that.
Unless you're a plant, that might be terrifying.
Look at all the bodies.
Look at all the bodies I've gathered across the globe.
This is awesome. Dead stuff from South America.
So let's get into the commercial for Cassandra, shall we? Like where do we send people? How do we do it?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So best place to go is my website, CassandraQuave.com. And that has links out to my YouTube channel. It's called Teach Ethnobotany.
Play on words.
It'll also take you to my podcast, which is called Foodie. Sorry, foodie pharmacology. And then lastly, my Substack is Nature's Pharmacy, and I also kind of cross-link things there. So if you go to my website, CassandraQuave.com, sign up for my newsletter. It's free. There's like 24,000 people that have signed up to get an email from me a couple times a week. So I must be doing something right. I don't know. I'll make sure and promote your show.
25,000 people
on that
for an
too.
ethnobotanist. That's fucking amazing. That's got to be like Beyonce numbers for your field.
But Matt, we've talked about this before, where like now with technology, you can find your tribe so easily.
Find your tribe, yeah. I've got everybody from like people that just like gardening or interested in health or. Yeah, or just curious about the random stuff.
Yeah, no, it's fun. Yeah, I mean, but it's listen. I hope it's not insulting, but that number is huge for what you do. I would think that number of people that even know what the fucking ethnobotanist would be less than that. Like, you know,
I know.
Either that or you've convinced literally
awesome.
everyone who's ever heard this word to sign up for your newsletter. Those are both possibility. I don't know. It's hilarious. That's awesome, though.
Maybe that's the case.
That's amazing.
It's a really tight community.
That you had that because that's a great thing for people to be excited about, right? Like, I mean, yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Sure.
The last thing before I forget, because my agent will kill me if I forget. This is like my book. I have a book that's already out. It's called The Plant Hunter, A Scientist's Quest for Nature's Next Medicines. It was published in 2021, so during the pandemic. But it was rated as one of the top books of 2021 by Kirkus and got a star review on Library Journal. So you can find it in your local library or you can order it online. It's in paperback. It's also in Japanese and in Mandarin. It's sold in Taiwan and in Japan, which is cool. I can't read either version of those, but it looks a beautiful cover
at your house where you could be like,
you should definitely have a copy.
You're like, I just want to look at whatever the fuck this is. Like, I don't know. I don't know.
Well, like the Japanese is like all the text, and it's like, it's beautiful. It's like purple and green.
And Japanese martial art is all the Japanese
that's
characters
like
all over everything. It's a very pretty written language.
All the characters,
and not as kind of clustered as like Mandarin. Right? Like it's like a little simpler.
They have an alphabet to break up some of the Chinese characters.
There you go.
Cool, man.
Awesome.
Yeah,
right, I'm going through and following everything right now.
Yeah.
Oh, amazing.
That's fun. Well, listen, I think what you're doing is super cool. I'm so glad that I got to ask you a bunch of dumb questions about what you do for a living and take very seriously when you're not on the show. And I'm sorry if we're just a bunch of children asking you dumb questions, but
it was so much fun. What a fun Monday night.
Yeah,
it was a great Monday night.
We're going to send everybody your way. And thanks again for spending time. And listen, when you get when you get the next book out, come back.
Yeah.
All right. Take care.
I will do.
Definitely.
Thanks, guys.
Hold on. Don't go.
Thanks.
Be subversive, irreverent.
Health is wealth, but you knew that.
Everybody knows that.
But so is following us on social media at Irreverent Health. And check out our website for more exclusive content at irreverenthealth.com.
Oh, I like this.
Thanks for tuning into this episode of Irreverent Health.